Hi and welcome to even one more YouTube video. Today I'm going to speak about two camera lenses from Sony. I have used Sony camera system now for several years, and Sony have a big amount of lenses out there nowadays. And there is two of them that I feel acting a little bit in the shadow. They doesn't get the attention that they deserve. So I really feel that I want to make this video because this is two really good lenses and they deserve to be highlighted. When it came to camera lenses, there is plenty of them in all categories. So there is also a lot of psychological effects behind every camera lens. If we, for example, check the Sony G Master series, everybody know that G Master, they are like diamonds. They performing very, very well. You know what you are paying for, you know what you are get, and you know how it's going to perform. So when you buy your G Master lens, you put it on your camera, you go out and test it, and you are really satisfied with that lens. You're not going to make so big deal about it because that was your expectation. So you maybe tell to your friends that, wow, you are so happy with this lens, but maybe nothing more than that. So when you buy your G Master lens, you know what you are paying for, and you also have high expectations about what are you going to get. If you put that lens on your camera, you go out, you try it, and you figure out that there is something that makes you disappointed. It doesn't matter if it's a small thing or a big thing. If there is just a small something that makes you disappointed, then for sure many people are going to make a big deal about it. And nowadays we have social media, we have all those YouTube channels, so many people want that the whole world know immediately that this lens have something that make me disappointed. And that is quite natural because we haven't expect that. So even if it's a small bullshit thing, we haven't maybe expecting that because it's a G Master lens and we have also paid a lot of money for it. So the G Master lenses, they are well known for being like diamonds, and all of them are really, really good ones. Some of them start to be quite old, but most of them is really, really up to date, and they deliver amazing image quality, and they performing very well in all categories. But on the other hand, if you buy a non-G Master lens, a lens without the G Master stamp, it's one other psychological effect behind that. Because for sure you're going to pay less money for it, and then you're also going to have lower expectations about it. And as I said before, if you put that lens on your camera, you go out and try it, and you're really satisfied with the lens. You are maybe not going to let the whole world know about it immediately in the same way that if you have buy a G Master lens and you have get disappointed. And why is it like that? One psychological thing is that if you have buy a cheaper lens with lower expectations and you still find that this lens is really wow, it's really, really good, before you accept by yourself that this lens is actually good, many people will start to doubt in themselves. They will start to think that maybe I have too less experience, foresee the bad things, maybe there is something else I don't see, or maybe I have bad eyes, or I don't know enough, something like that. So many people will start to blame themselves and doubt in themselves before they can fully out accept that yes, this lens is actually really good. And for that reason, I feel that these two lenses I'm going to speak about today, I really want to highlight them because they are really good lenses. They deliver one image quality that many people don't expect from a lens with that price tag, and also a lens that is not a G Master lens. So which are those two lenses that I'm now speaking about? I'm going to show you them, and I'm not going to give you a long review or telling a long story about them. I just want to tell my experience and why I want to highlight them, and I'm also going to show you some photos that I have taken with them. And first we have the 20mm f1.8 wide angle lens. And it's small, it's lightweight, and it still have an aperture of f1.8. Already that is a wow thing. And if you compare this lens with the G Master lenses, the difference is not so big as many people think. Now there is no 20mm G Master, but we have the 14 and we have the 24. And both of those two G Master lenses, they are really good lenses. They are masterpieces. So I don't tell you that the difference is small because those two lenses is bad. They are like the best on the market in that category. But this lens is not so far behind. I have mostly used this lens for shooting night landscape photos of Aurora Borealis. And when you're shooting something like that, you most of the time use the biggest aperture possible. So that means that I have most of the time shooting with this lens wide open. And if you check the difference in corner sharpness, okay, it's going to be a different if you compare to the G Master lenses. And if you're a real astrophotographer and you're really going to compare the stars in the corners on pixel level, it's going to be a different. But once again, the difference is really, really small. And considering the price tag, the difference feels even smaller. So I have shooting a lot of night sky with this wide open, and I must say that I'm really impressed about the results. So I also have the 24mm and I also have the 14. So if I have to choose between the 20 or the 24, I only going to make the decision depending on what focal length I prefer. Because I'm never going to take the 24 before the 20 if I want to have a 20mm for this composition, just because the 24 is a better lens. Because yes, there is a difference, but the difference are so small. So what make me take the decision when I go out and shooting landscape photos is what focal length I want to use. Do I want 20 or 24? The sharpness in the middle of the photo is really good, already wide open at f1.8. And if you want to have the corner sharpness to be same good, you need to go down to around f4. But in most situations, for me, the corner sharpener is good enough, already wide open at f1.8, but it depending on what objects you are shooting. Even that I have used this lens mostly in manual focus mode, I have of course also tried the autofocus. And the autofocus engine is really fast, really quiet and also very accurate. And now you are for sure curious about which one is the second lens. And the second one is the 24 to 105mm f4 zoom lens. And this lens is maybe the most versatile lens you can have when you are out and shooting landscape. If I'm out and shooting landscape with only one lens, this is my most common number one choice for the most of scenarios when I'm out shooting landscape. And if I go with two lenses, I have this lens in combination with the 100-400 zoom or something wider like the 16 to 35, depending on where I'm going to be. This lens is in the category what we used to call normal zooms. But even if it's a normal zoom, it still have a little bit wider focal length area than a normal zoom. Because normal zooms are mostly from 24 to 70 and this zoom is from 24 to 105mm, so it's a little bit wider area. And if you compare this one to the G Master 2470, we cannot compare them fully out because the G Master is a f2.8 and this one is a f4, and this one also have, as I say, a wider focal length area. But if we are out shooting landscape and we are not in the need to having one f2.8 aperture, then this lens is a really good choice. Because when you are out shooting landscape, you are very seldom on the biggest aperture and you are also very seldom on f4. So if you don't have any need for a bigger aperture, I will really recommend this lens. And for me, the difference in focal length area from 70 up to 105, it's worth so much because you get that little bit extra reach, but that little bit is really a big difference when you are out and composing your photos. And if we speak about image quality, I mean, now we cannot compare this lens with some other Sony lens because there is no one that is in this category. We have the 24-70, but it's a shorter focal length area and it also have a bigger aperture. So I can only speak about image quality from this lens without compare it to some other lens. And if you're shooting with this lens, especially if you step down a little bit, the image quality is absolutely perfect. I have very hard to see that there is some other brand on the market that have a 24 to 105 millimeter lens that deliver the same image quality. So once again, this lens delivers so much more than many people can expect. And here we also have that psychological things I used to speak about. This lens you can mostly buy together with the camera in one kit. And normally those kit lenses, they used to be more or less crap. So it's also something that many people have in their mind. So just by hearing that you can buy this lens together with a camera and get a package deal, that make you start to feel that maybe this lens cannot be so good. But I can really recommend this lens. This is my absolutely number one go-to lens when I'm out shooting landscape. This lens also have one built-in optical image stabilizer. The autofocus engine is very fast and also very quiet. And also this lens have a very good weather sealing. And if you like to shooting straight to the sun, this lens is also working very good for that, and it also gives you very lovely sun stars. So if you're looking for a wide angle lens or a normal zoom lens with a little bit wider focal length area, and you want to have a lower price tag, but you still want to have something that delivers absolutely perfect image quality, I can really recommend the 20mm f1.8 and the 24 to 105mm f4. That was everything for this time. Thank you and see you soon again.